So welcome dear students. Today we will continue with the gardener, the story by P. Lankesh. I have come up to page number 62 bottom. So you can just go through. So that's when I realized how strange human nature can be. That is, the rivalry between Tammanna and Basavaya had moved from the visible to an invisible. And when Tammanna became sick, so Basavaya thought it is better for him. When he is sick, he becomes healthy. Then, man needs wealth, education, art, and many more things. So, man needs many things. And yet he lives for some kind of unbearable vengefulness. So, man requires wealth, education, art, and many things. But even then, he lives for some kind of unbearable vengefulness. That means revenge. He wants some rivalry. Without this, there will be no reason for his existence. If there is nobody to compete, no rivalry, then there is no reason for his existence. This is not a real story, only what I have heard somewhere. So, the old man tells the owner's wife that it's not a real story, but somebody has told me, I have heard somewhere. You may know that I subscribe to a daily. So he is a newspaper reporter. That is why when he came also in the beginning, he was having a newspaper tucked under his arm. To you, I am just an old man. After a particular age, man loses his name. When a man becomes old, everybody forgets about his name. His age becomes important and his name vanishes into thin air. This is what happens when you see an old man, very old man, we ask him. We don't ask him what is your name. We ask him what is your age. How old are you? That means his name vanishes and his age becomes prominent. Then I conceived. Okay. Now I am an old man in this garden, your servant. I am also the person who reads the newspaper and looks after the garden properly. So he reads the newspapers daily, regularly, and then he works and looks after the garden properly. He is just a servant for them. I conceived the story of Tammanna and Basavaya when all of a sudden Russia told America, I am not your enemy. I shall not wage a war against you. As you know, Russia and America, they were enemies, dead enemies. But suddenly, Russia told America, I am not your enemy. I will be your friend. And I shall not wage a war against you. What must have been the reaction of America, the sworn enemy of Russia, to this declaration? When America heard this, how much it felt that there is no more an enemy, no rivalry. So he was probably, you will not understand the agony and boredom of America. It becomes an agony, pain and boredom. No meaning in living. When there is no rivalry, there is no interest. Once it knew Russia was no more an enemy. A nation is capable of withstanding strains like this. A nation can withstand friendship or rivalry, but a human being cannot. I suffered a similar fate. And finally, he tells, he too had a similar fate. I thought my death alone could destroy Basavaya. So finally, what Tammanna thought, only my death can destroy Basavaya. If I am not there, then Basavaya will automatically, he will also get destroyed. He gave up everything and started off. So he left everything, he left there, all his possessions, land, everything. Then he just moved away. A few days after I left, Basavaya passed away. After some days, Basavaya also died. He had no more reason to live. Why he had no more reason? Because there was no one to compete, no rivalry. So there is no meaning in living. So he died. Now finally he concludes with this. My name is Tammanna. After his death, I forgot all my songs and ballads. When Basavaya died, Tammanna forgot everything. He forgot all his songs and ballads. I, who was once famous, became a non-entity. I became a non-entity, no identity. Thus, I avenged myself. That means, in such a way, he avenged himself. Your husband is flourishing today as a rich man. Now he is telling to the woman, the owner's wife, your husband is a rich man now. He is not amenable to any advice. He will not listen to anybody. Man is so complicated that till the day of his death, he goes on living for some revenge or the other, confronting one challenge or the other. So the old man tells that man is not so simple, he is very complicated. That till the day of his death, till he dies, he goes on living for some revenge or the other. Always he will be nurturing, cultivating some revenge with somebody, confronting one challenge or the other. That means man will not live peacefully. Then finally he concludes, Amma, that means Mother Amma, do not think otherwise, don't feel anything. Just assume I did not tell you any of this. Just forget. Don't put so much of tension, just forget. Or think all this happened in a dream. Just think that everything happened in a dream. The laborers have started going home. That young child of Lokia paints well, is bedridden with fever. I shall pay him a visit. So it was already evening time and all the laborers were started going home, and there was a person called Lokia. He was a painter. So the young child of Lokia was bedridden with fever, suffering from fever. So the old man said that he should go and pay a visit to him. Then lastly it concludes, forgive me, unable to elaborate. I have told you whatever I felt as it is. Whatever I felt, I have just told you. I had seen all this in a dream. Finally he concludes that everything was in a dream. So this is the story of Tammanna, the old man. Then let us come to the comprehensions. In comprehensions, important questions I'll deal. I'll just, some of the questions may be in the book, some may not be there. So, but we will go through all the questions, important questions. When did the narrator conceive the story, The Gardener? When did he conceive the story? So, the narrator conceived the story during the chance encounter with an old man. So where did he meet him? He met him in a coconut grove near Chandrayapatna. Then, what qualities of the old man impressed the narrator? First question. See, the old man was well versed in agriculture and could understand the problems of workers. So this is what the owner wanted. Owner wanted a man who knew about agriculture and who could understand the problems of the workers. Where was the old man standing? The old man was standing in a coconut grove near Chandrayapatna. How did the old man look like? Describe the old man. The old man was a tall figure hair gone grey, grey hair, a long beak-like nose, and strong muscular arms. This is a description of the old man. He was tall, had grey hair, a long beak-like nose, and strong muscular arms. Next is, what was the old man? What was he? The old man was a laborer, a philosopher, and an overseer. The old man was first a laborer, an overseer, and a philosopher. What qualities of the old man impressed the narrator? Already I told you about this answer. Next, what changes took place? What changes took place after the arrival of the old man? The petty thefts in the garden came to an end. All the small thefts they came to an end. And the income from the garden improved dramatically. The income improved dramatically. Then, what possession of did Tamanna have? What all he had? Tamanna had 10 acres of land, a comfortable house, and people ready to do his bidding. So this is all he had. He had 10 acres of wetland, a comfortable house, and people ready to serve him. Then which was the most important possession of Tamanna? It's a very important question. Which was the most important possession? The most important possession of Tamanna was his rival Sangoji. His rival Sangoji. Or Basavaya also same. Basavaya and Sangoji is the same. Then how much land did Tamanna and Basavaya possess? Tamanna had 1000 acres and Basavaya had 800 acres. Had 800 acres. What did Tamanna's supporters advise him for getting back his land? This question can be asked as a long question also and sometimes as a short also. They advised Tamanna to go to the court of law or take recourse to the police. Either go to the court of law or to the police, or they were ready to attack Basavaya also. So this was the advice given by supporters. Then what had art become in Tamanna's life? What had art become in Tamanna's life? Art had become the raison d'etre. Raison d'etre means the reason for living. It's a French word. The raison d'etre of his life. Why did Basavaya's house look dull and empty? Why it looked dull and empty? Because Basavaya's house did not have Tamanna's books. So Basavaya's house looked dull and empty because Tamanna's books were not there. What was Tamanna's ultimate method of punishing Basavaya? What was the ultimate method? Tamanna thought of a method of his punishing Basavaya by his death. That is, by separating his songs from his body. It's not a physical death, spiritual death. Then, why did America experience agony and boredom? Why? Because suddenly Russia declared that it was no more an enemy to America and it will not wage a war. That is why it became agony and boredom. What did Tamanna become after Basavaya's death? Tamanna once was very famous. He became a non-entity after Basavaya's death. That means no entity, no significance. He became a non-entity. Now, 4 more questions only. What is given in the textbook is also important. I'll just first one is comprehension 2. How did the owner's life change after the arrival of the old man? It's very important. 4 more questions. I'll just give the answer. The owner of the farm had a chance encounter with an old man who was standing in a coconut grove near Chandrayapatna. This is how you should start. He seemed to possess strange memories and native intelligence. He was tall, had grey hair, a long beak-like nose, and strong muscular arms. So he was a laborer, overseer, and philosopher. This is all about the encounter. Next, he came to the farm after walking hundreds of miles. The owner of the plantation needed a person exactly like him. The old man was well versed with agriculture and could understand the problems of workers. The petty thefts in the garden came to an end. The income from the garden improved dramatically and the plantation expanded drastically. So these all took place after the arrival of the old man. But there was a perceptible change in the lifestyle of the owner. He became lethargic and shied away from hard work. The owner's wealth and social prestige had risen. He acquired a lot of friends in his own village as well as in the next town. His life became full of colorful events. He had indulged in adultery, clout, and umpteen other vices. Adultery, I told you, it is illegal relationship with somebody else. So then, though the farm had grown tremendously, the owner's life was gradually getting out of hand. So this is an important question. You can go through the text also and find out. The second one is, the textbook also you see, what advice did the supporters of Tammanna give for getting back his land? It's also an important question. Tammanna had 10 acres of land and a comfortable house, and he had a number of supporters. If Tammanna bought 4 acres adjacent to his land, Basavaya also followed suit. If one had 10 friends, the other acquired 15 admirers. It was a healthy competition. It reached a limit that there was no land left in the village. All the land belonged either to Tammanna or Basavaya. Tammanna had 1,000 acres, whereas Basavaya had 800 acres. So Basavaya sent word to Tammanna to give him the 200 acres, but Tammanna did not agree. He was prepared to buy all the land from Basavaya. Soon Basavaya went with the supporters and acquired 200 acres of land forcibly and built a fence around that. Tammanna could not tolerate this. His supporters advised him that they could approach the court of law or take recourse to the police. If not, they were ready. The supporters were ready to attack Basavaya. Such a war had become virtually inevitable. So this is also important. The supporters of Tammanna advised him. See, you should not just give only the advice. You have to give some more. So 4 more questions. So that is why I have given all this. Final, what was the advice? They told Tammanna to go to the court of law or to go to the police, or they are ready to go and attack Basavaya. Third one is, in your text, it is the fourth one. How did Basavaya try to overcome his humiliation? Comprehension 2, the fourth one. When Tammanna's reputation started spreading all around, Basavaya could not digest this. Tammanna's songs referred to Basavaya's cruelty and meanness. And so he was insulted by the ballads and the songs of Tammanna. He showed all his aversion to Basavaya in his songs and poems. Scholars of folklore appreciated Tammanna's songs and translated them and won name and fame. And Tammanna was felicitated as the best poet of his time. So all these humiliated Basavaya. How did he overcome this? This is the actual answer. So Basavaya shrunk in humiliation and could not tolerate this. He started to sing but could not compete with Tammanna's talent. He was unable to sing. He could not compete with him. He started filling his life with all kinds of material wealth. So he started making all kinds of possessions, material wealth. He got a palatial mansion built for himself. He built a big house, just like a palace. Then he appointed a number of persons to praise him. So, in the olden days, if you see, the kings had some people to praise him. They used to praise the king. Similarly, this Basavaya appointed some people to praise him. He bedecked himself with gold, diamonds, and other precious stones. Bedecked means adorned himself. He put on lot of gold, lot of diamonds, and other precious stones. But his house looked dull and empty. Even then, his house was just dull and empty because Tammanna's books were not there. All the visitors who came, they used to point out, your house is nice, but it is dull and empty because Tammanna's books are not there. So Basavaya started inviting scholars, poets, and musicians to his place. In this way, Basavaya tried to overcome his humiliation. So all the questions which I am telling are exam oriented. So these are important questions. Keep and make a note of them. Then next one is comprehension 3 nalli. Now in 4 more questions I'll give. How does the reference to Russia and America provide another dimension to the story? See, this is comprehension 3 nalli 4th question. So it may be asked as 4 mark also. Man needs wealth, education, art, and many more things. And yet, he lives for some kind of vengefulness. Without it, there will be no reason for his existence. There is no rivalry, there is no meaning in living. The old man conceived the story of Tammanna and Basavaya when suddenly Russia told America that it was no more its enemy and it would not wage a war against him, against America. So, the reaction of America, the sworn enemy of Russia, was quite different. America felt great agony and boredom once it came to know that Russia was no more its enemy. A nation can withstand strains like this, but not a human being. Then the old man suffered a similar fate. He tells that I too had a similar fate. He thought his death alone could destroy Basavaya. As long as he lives, Basavaya will always start competing. There will be always rivalry. But if he dies, then there will be no rivalry. So he thought his death would only bring about. Then he gave up everything and started off. A few days after he left, Basavaya passed away as he had no reason to live and no one to avenge. See, as soon as Tammanna left, just after few days, Basavaya died because there was no reason for living. After Basavaya's death, Tammanna forgot all his songs and ballads. See, when there is no rival, what is the meaning of having the songs and ballads? So he stopped everything. He separated them and he became a non-entity. He has no now identity and thus avenged himself. He avenged himself. then man needs wealth, education, art, and many more things. And yet he lives for some kind of unbearable vengefulness. Without it, there is no reason for man's real existence. Tammanna did not wish to compete with Basavaya by accumulating material wealth. He resorted to a different method of punishing Basavaya by death, by separating his songs from his body. Death means not a physical death, it is a spiritual death. He stopped singing, he separated his songs from his body, and then this made Basavaya to end his life, to die. Now, one 6-mark question I'll give, that is in comprehension 3, the first one. The rivalry between Tammanna and Basavaya keeps moving from the visible domain to the invisible. Generally, it is asked as a 6-mark questions. 6-mark questions are linked. You have to write about 200 words. 200 words means it goes about more than one page. You must know the limit. 1 mark means short, 4 mark means 80 to 100 words. That comes about half or a little bit more than that. But for a 6-mark question, you must write minimum 1 full page, and you can go to 1.5 also. So this is an important question on 6-mark question. Now, the Tammanna and Basavaya were staunch rivals, staunch enemies. If Tammanna bought some land adjacent to Basavaya's land, Basavaya also followed suit. If Tammanna bought 4 acres, Basavaya will also buy 4 acres. A healthy competition followed, and soon there was no land left in the village to buy. All the land belonged either to Tammanna or Basavaya. Tammanna had 200 acres, whereas Basavaya had 800 acres. So Tammanna had 200 acres more than Basavaya. So Basavaya asked Tammanna to sell 200 acres to him, but Tammanna did not agree. He told him that he was ready to buy all the land from Basavaya. Basavaya went along with his supporters and acquired the 200 acres of Tammanna's land forcibly. He also built a fence around the land, and Tammanna could not tolerate this invasion. The quarrel between Tammanna and Basavaya sucked in all his supporters. All the supporters joined them. Tammanna supporters were ready to attack Basavaya, and a war had become imminent. But Tammanna was in search of a method to annihilate Basavaya, to destroy completely Basavaya. He hit upon the idea of composing all his experiences in the form of ballads and singing them. Tammanna's reputation started spreading all around. His song started making a mention of Basavaya's cruelty and meanness. Scholars of folklore were after him. Critics started analyzing and translating his songs, and they earned a fame. Basavaya encroached a lot more of Tammanna's land, but Tammanna did not notice any of these activities. Art had become the raison d'etre of his life. Raison d'etre, French word which means the purpose of life. He was felicitated as the best poet of his times. The subject of rivalry was visible property, the land, and gradually it moved to an invisible domain, that is vengeance and hatred. Tammanna started inflicting pain on Basavaya by his songs, depicting the cruelty and meanness of Basavaya. In this way, The rivalry between Ramanna and Basavaya started moving from things that were visible towards an invisible, abstract domain. It's a very important question. I have discussed all the 1 mark questions, 4 mark questions, and 6 mark questions. And when you come to the college, we'll again do a bit of revisions so that you'll be thorough with the lesson for your exams. As I told you, every video we will be uploading 10 questions of objective type. So please go through, because if you attend all the tests, definitely you can answer them in your exams. So we are not able to give answers, long answers, short answers. We are giving only objective type so that you can tick them. At least we will know that you have understood the lesson. And once in 15 days, we will also be uploading 1 mark, 4 mark and 6 mark questions, which you must answer and send it by PDF. I have seen some students already they have sent. So don't neglect anything. Since we are not able to come to the directly to the college, you have to spend your time in these lessons, these videos. Just listen, go through. If you have the textbook, read the textbook. If you don't have, it is on the screen. So please take some interest and respond. As I always tell you, if you find any difficulty in my way of teaching, then I am always a bit little fast only, but I am sure second year students can definitely understand. If you find some difficulty, you please contact me. My number is already with you. Otherwise, inform the college so that if there is any corrective measures that can be taken. Okay then, thank you. So after this, one more lesson, the poem will take. Then I'll go to the grammar. And grammar aspect, you must take a lot of interest, because you score maximum marks in grammar. So one more, that is poem, To the Foot from Its Child. The next lesson will be that. And after that I'll tell you, mostly grammar portions will be done on the board. It will not be like this, because a lot of explanations are required and your workbook doesn't have much. I have to take lot of extra things. Then only you will be able to learn the grammar. That we'll see. And that's what father has told me also. For grammar, your board work is much better than this one. Okay then, thank you.